The post-race period is a critical time for recovery and has a significant impact on a bird's ability to perform well in subsequent races. Neglecting this crucial phase is a common mistake that can lead to prolonged fatigue, muscle damage, and a decline in future performance. Immediate rehydration and recovery nutrition are paramount upon the bird's return. During a race, pigeons expend a tremendous amount of energy and lose vital fluids and electrolytes. Providing clean, fresh water, often with the addition of electrolytes, is the first and most important step. This should be followed by a light, easily digestible feed. Many fanciers offer barley upon return, as it is easy on the digestive system. A richer, more protein-heavy feed can be introduced later in the day or the following day to aid in muscle repair. Neglecting to provide immediate and appropriate nutrition can lead to a much slower recovery and a bird that is not in optimal condition for the next race. A thorough inspection of each returning bird for injuries, parasites, or signs of exhaustion is a vital but often overlooked task. Birds can sustain injuries during a race, such as cuts, scrapes, or even broken bones. They may also pick up external parasites, like lice or pigeon flies in the race basket. A careful examination allows the fancier to identify and address any issues promptly. A bird that is not fully recovered or is carrying an injury will not be able to perform at its best in the next race. Finally, it is important to avoid overanalyzing a single bad race. A poor result can be disappointing, but it is a mistake to make impulsive and drastic changes to the feed, training, or loft management based on one race. There are many factors that can contribute to a poor performance, including weather conditions, a difficult release, or simply the bird having an off day. A calm, data-driven assessment of the race and the bird's condition is a much more effective approach. Keeping detailed records of training, feeding, and race results can help to identify patterns and make informed decisions about future management. In conclusion, the path to success in young bird pigeon racing is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires a deep understanding of the bird's needs, a commitment to meticulous care, and the patience to allow them to develop at their own pace. By avoiding the common pitfalls outlined in this guide, from the crucial early days in the loft to the rigors of training, the intensity of race day, and the vital importance of post-race recovery, you can provide your young team with the best possible chance to reach their full potential. The thrill of watching a bird you have nurtured and trained return victorious is a reward that makes all the effort worthwhile.
Young bird season. Avoiding the pitfalls that cost championships. The young bird season represents both the greatest opportunity and the steepest learning curve in racing pigeon management. While seasoned fanciers understand that this period lays the foundation for future champions, many well-intentioned enthusiasts fall into predictable traps that can derail an entire season, or worse, permanently damage their promising youngsters. The peril of premature pushing. Enthusiasm often becomes the enemy of success when it comes to young bird development. The temptation to accelerate training schedules is understandable. After all, every fancier dreams of discovering the next super pigeon in their current crop. However, starting rigorous training too early creates a cascade of problems that can haunt you throughout the season. Young birds pushed beyond their developmental capacity often experience burnout before they've even had a chance to prove themselves. They're still developing muscles, respiratory systems, and mental fortitude simply cannot handle adult-level demands. What appears to be dedication to excellence often becomes a recipe for injury and disappointment. Equally destructive is the guesswork approach to nutrition during this critical phase. Overfeeding creates lethargic, overweight birds that struggle with even basic flight requirements, while underfeeding starves developing muscles and organs of essential nutrients. The key lies in understanding that young birds have dramatically different energy requirements than seasoned racers, and their needs change rapidly as they develop. Perhaps most dangerous is the tough love mentality that ignores early warning signs of stress or illness. Young birds showing signs of fatigue, loss of appetite, or behavioral changes aren't displaying weakness. They're communicating critical information about their condition. Hoping they'll simply power through these issues often transforms minor problems into major health crises that can spread throughout your entire young bird team. Overlooking the loft's labyrinth. The loft environment serves as the foundation for everything else you'll attempt with your young birds. Poor ventilation doesn't just create unpleasant conditions, it establishes the perfect breeding ground for respiratory diseases that can cripple performance for months. Young birds, with their still developing immune systems, are particularly vulnerable to environmental stressors that older birds might easily overcome. Feeding inconsistencies create a ripple effect of problems that extend far beyond simple nutrition. Young birds thrive on routine, and sudden changes in feeding schedules or diet composition trigger stress responses that impact everything from digestion to flight performance. Their developing systems require predictability to function optimally, and chaos in the loft translates directly to chaos in their performance. The assumption that young birds are naturally robust leads many fanciers to skip the routine health checks and preventative measures that could identify problems before they become disasters. Regular monitoring isn't paranoia, it's professional management that separates successful seasons from expensive learning experiences. Training traps and tribulations. Weather awareness becomes critical when dealing with young birds who haven't yet developed the experience and judgment of seasoned racers. Sending them out in challenging conditions that would merely test an older bird can completely disorient youngsters, leading to losses that devastate both your racing prospects and your confidence. The progressive training principle isn't just a nice idea, it's a biological necessity. Young birds' homing instincts develop gradually, and overwhelming them with distance increases that exceed their current capabilities doesn't accelerate their development. It breaks down their confidence and can create lasting navigation problems. Establishing consistent feeding-to-toss routines helps young birds develop the internal timing mechanisms they'll rely on throughout their racing careers. Inconsistency in this area confuses their natural rhythms and can leave them unprepared when they need their energy reserves most. Race day recklessness. The excitement of race day often leads to counterproductive interventions. Over-medicating or excessive supplementation disrupts the natural equilibrium you've worked all season to establish. Young birds' systems are particularly sensitive to chemical disruptions, and race day interventions often create more problems than they solve. The handling and crating process reveals much about a fancier's true understanding of their birds. Creating chaotic environments or rough handling in the hours before crating adds unnecessary stress to birds that are already dealing with the natural tension of competition. Calm, confident handling reassures young birds and helps them maintain the mental state necessary for peak performance. Weather and race point conditions require different consideration when dealing with young birds versus experienced racers. What might be merely challenging for a seasoned bird can be overwhelming for a youngster, and ignoring forecasts or race conditions when making the decision to send young birds often results in disappointing returns and damaged confidence. Post-race pitfalls. The moments immediately following a bird's return are critical for both immediate recovery and future performance. Neglecting proper rehydration and recovery nutrition doesn't just impact the current race, it affects their ability to recover for subsequent competitions and can cause cumulative damage that shows up later in the season. The post-race inspection period offers invaluable information about your bird's condition and the effectiveness of your management program. Failing to thoroughly check returning birds means missing early signs of injuries, parasites, or exhaustion that could impact their future racing ability or spread problems to other birds in your team.
Perhaps most importantly, learning to interpret race results with perspective rather than emotion separates developing fanciers from those who achieve long-term success. One poor race result doesn't invalidate your entire program, and making impulsive changes based on single disappointing performances often creates more problems than the original issue. Building champions through patience. The young bird season ultimately teaches us that champions are built through consistent, thoughtful management rather than dramatic interventions or shortcuts. The birds that consistently perform at the highest levels come from lofts where every decision is made with their long-term development in mind, where problems are identified and addressed early, and where the excitement of competition never overrides the fundamentals of good husbandry. Success in the young bird season isn't measured only by immediate race results. It's measured by the foundation you build for future championships and the lessons you learn that will benefit every bird in your loft for years to come.
You in identifying and acquiring such pigeons. I understand that many pigeons for sale are advertised based on their lineage or pedigree, but I emphasize the importance of assessing the bird itself rather than relying solely on paperwork. As part of my offer, I invite you to share photos of your pigeons, including their eye sign and wing characteristics. I'll provide you with free advice on racing and breeding based on my extensive experience and knowledge. Additionally, I will share auction links to high-quality breeding birds that have the potential to produce winners in your loft. Here's what you can expect to receive from me. A comprehensive Word document containing valuable insights and strategies for successful pigeon racing, including specific racing methods for both old and young birds, as well as general advice. Private YouTube videos sent to your email, covering various aspects of pigeon racing, from breeding to race preparation. Detailed recommendations on supplements and additives to add to your pigeon's drinking water, with scientific evidence supporting their effectiveness. Similar products are used by professional athletes and racehorses to enhance performance. Assurance that your pigeons will race home faster, provided that you have quality birds to begin with.